FPL Game Week 5 Team Selection. What is up everyone, how's it going? FPL Era here and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. We were faced with the first troll game week last week. In Game Week 4, everything that could have went wrong pretty much went wrong, but we somehow managed to get a green arrow and we're now inside the top 1 million mark. In today's video I'm going to show you how I fared out in Game Week 4 and we'll also be looking at my transfer plans and team selection ahead of Game Week 5. We've lots to discuss, let's get into the video. So before we get into today's video, quick reminder as always to drop the video a like, and let's hit a like goal of 80 likes on this video. So head on down there, give the video a like, and if you are watching this and you're not subscribed, or if this is the first time coming across the channel, first off, welcome to the channel, but you know what to do by now. Head on down there, click subscribe. We are on the road to 10k subs, hopefully we can get there this season, and with your support we can definitely hit that milestone. So looking at my Game Week 4 review, I'm smiling looking at the team here, but 1s and 2s across the board pretty much made it the first horror game week of the season. We'll start off with my new signing JOAO PEDRO. He was left out of the Brighton squad completely after he picked up an injury away with Brazil on international duty, and this injury wasn't announced until after the deadline. My other new signing, Mo Salah, drew a blank against Nottingham Forest in the 3 o'clock game, along with JOAO and Trent blanking in that game also, and with JOAO PEDRO missing out for Brighton completely. Chris Wood subbed into the team, but unfortunately he drew a blank and wasn't able to return for Nottingham Forest's only goal. On to the other 3 o'clock games. Henderson and Eze drew a blank against Leicester. Crystal Palace did get a penalty in the last minute, and I was licking my lips at the chance of an Eze return, but unfortunately for my own FPL team, Mateta stepped up and slotted the penalty away. Since after the game it's now been revealed that Mateta and Eze are sharing penalty duties. Fingers crossed Eze can be on the next one, but after Mateta scored at the weekend, I'm not too confident of that. With Aston Villa up against an out-of-form Everton side, I had high hopes of Konsa and Rodgers returning in this game, but it wasn't to be, as Everton scored twice to wipe out my Konsa clean sheet, and somehow Rodgers didn't return as Aston Villa scored 3. Rodgers did look pretty lively in this game, but he's not able to turn this liveliness into FPL points for now. Wolves at home this weekend for Aston Villa, so hopefully Rodgers can finally get his attack in return. The only saving graces from the 3 o'clock games was the fact that Emile Smith-Rowe came away with an assist and he picked up a 7-point return as he grabbed himself a bonus point and an extra clean sheet point as he was substituted before Fulham lost their clean sheet. Probably the first time this season I celebrated an early substitution for Smith-Rowe. And then moving on to Haaland up front, he came away with 2 goals and max bonus points for a 26-point return against Brentford at home. 9 goals in 4 games for Haaland is an absolutely outrageous start to him for the season. He's up against Arsenal at the weekend. Can he make it 10 goals in 5 games? I'm pretty confident that he will. So 10 players involved in the round of games on Saturday, and some very disappointing returns over those games. I was on a red arrow and faring the worst on Sunday with no Isak, no Saka. Thankfully the FPL gods turned in my favour and Gabriel came away with the only goal in the North London derby, and he managed to grab himself a 15-point return, which was very much needed for the team last week. To add to my luck then on Sunday, thankfully Isak was subbed off after half time, so he only came away with a 1-point return when he was a massive threat to my rank. It was a crazy week of FPL and a roller coaster of emotions across Saturday and Sunday, and even after taking a hit, somehow I managed to get a green arrow. I don't know how, to be honest with you, the way things went last week, but we're now inside the top 1 million mark, ranked at 987k overall. Hopefully now we can push on over the next couple of weeks and get close to the top 100k spot before Christmas, but let's move on now and see how I'm planning ahead of the Game Week 5 deadline tomorrow. Looking at the clean sheet odds ahead of the Game Week 5 deadline, Liverpool top the charts with a 43% chance of keeping a clean sheet at home to Bournemouth this weekend, and Slots men will be looking to bounce back after that shock defeat against Nottingham Forest in Game Week 4. It's quite surprising to see Man City ranked second with them up against Arsenal this weekend, and then looking at my own team, it's some decent viewing as Aston Villa ranked third with a 38% chance of keeping a clean sheet against Wolves this weekend. Fingers crossed Konsa can finally get his first clean sheet of the season, and Trent Alexander-Arnold can finally get his first attacking return of the season. He got his attacking return in the Champions League during the week, so he was definitely teasing us owners, but with Bournemouth at home this weekend, you'd be expecting him to get a clean sheet at least, and hopefully an attacking return. Moving on to predicted points this weekend, Erling Haaland tops the charts with a predicted point score of 9.7 points at home to Arsenal this weekend. It is quite surprising to see him top the charts, especially with how good Arsenal have been in the fence this season, but it is Erling Haaland after all, so we can't really argue with him being in first place. Mo Salah follows closely behind him with a predicted point score of 8.9 points in that fixture at home to Bournemouth, and then Luis Diaz completes the top 3 with a predicted point score of 7.3 points in that same fixture. It must be noted that Luis Diaz is currently still a rotation risk. He was meant to be on the bench for that Nottingham Forest game. Cody Gakpo was meant to start that game, but Slot said Diaz returned from international duty looking very sharp and very fit, so that's why he did start that game over Gakpo. Just something to note, especially if you're considering bringing in Diaz this week. So looking at my current lineup ahead of the Game Week 5 deadline tomorrow, we'll start off with the defence, and it's some mixed viewing in the defence with some tough fixtures for Gabriel and Henderson this weekend, and then some favourable fixtures for Konsa and Trent. We'll start off with Henderson between the sticks. He's been very much a disappointment own all season so far. Still no clean sheet for Crystal Palace in the opening 4 game weeks, and I'm not expecting him to get one this weekend at home to Man United. The only thing I can really hope for is probably save points, but the way Henderson has been playing the last couple of weeks, more than likely it's just going to be a 1 point return. He's high up on the chopping block for my team at the moment, especially with Arsenal having some favourable fixtures coming around the corner from Game Week 6 onwards, so I'm probably potentially looking at bringing in Raya and doubling up on the Arsenal defence with that favourable fixture run for them. Moving on to the back three, and we'll start off with Konsa, who's up against Wolves at home this weekend. He's been a bit of a disappointment since I brought him in 2 weeks ago. I did have confidence in Aston Villa keeping a few clean sheets over the favourable fixture run, but they haven't done so far. That late clean sheet wipeout against Leicester and then conceding twice against Everton last weekend haven't been good returns from Konsa so far, but with Wolves at home this weekend and with them looking a lot more solid in defence and a good performance from young boys or against young boys in the Champions League during the week, I'll be hoping they can bring that form into the Wolves game and get a clean sheet there. As I said earlier, Liverpool are favourites for the chance of a clean sheet this weekend, so I'm confident enough in Trent getting a return at home to Bournemouth on Saturday. We're still waiting on that attacking return. He got one in the Champions League during the week, so he's definitely teasing us owners, so fingers crossed he can finally come away with one this weekend, but I will be happy if he just gets his clean sheet. Gabriel completes my back three, and he's up against Man City away from home this weekend, so I'm not expecting too much from the Arsenal defender, but he's just in my starting 11 on the slight chance he might come away with an attacking return like he did against Spurs last weekend. That's the defence out of the way. Let's move on now and have a look at the midfield. So moving on to my midfield, I've got 5 men in midfield as of now, but I might switch back to 3-4-3 formation depending on what updates we get on JOAO Pedro's fitness ahead of the Nottingham Forest game, but for now, there's 5 men in my midfield. We'll start off with Mo Salah. He's up against Bournemouth at home this weekend, and I'm giving him the armband. I'm confident on a haul for Mo Salah. He should have scored twice against Milan in the Champions League during the week, and I'm confident he can get a nice haul in that fixture. Diogo Jota is also in my starting 11. He did play 68 minutes in that Champions League fixture against Milan, so there's a slight chance he could get rotated at the weekend, but I'm going to have to take the risk and start him in that game, as it's easily a game he could return well in if he does get the start. We're still waiting on his first attacking return of the season, and with 11 goals conceded by Wolves in their opening 4 games, I'm expecting Aston Villa to score a few at Villa Park, and hopefully Morgan Rogers can finally get his first attacking return of the season. He has been very lively over the last couple of weeks, but we just need him to turn that liveliness into FPL points, so all eyes on Villa Park this weekend. Man United did look shaky in the fence in the early kick-off against Southampton at the weekend, so I do think Crystal Palace will get at least 1 goal in this fixture, especially with them playing at home. Eze picked himself up a goal and an assist in the EFL Cup game during the week, so I do think this is a fixture he can return well in, even though he mightn't be on penalties with Mateta taking that penalty last week, but with him being on set pieces and free kicks, there's every chance he can come away with a return. Emile Smith-Rowe completes my 5-man midfield for now, but I will be keeping a close eye on the fitness update of JOAO Pedro. If it sounds like JOAO Pedro is going to be fit for the Nottingham Forest game at the weekend, I could be very tempted to move Smith-Rowe to the bench, especially with him being substituted early every week so far, but for now, he's in my starting 11. Chris Wood and Erling Haaland complete my starting 11, and we'll start off with Chris Wood. Nottingham Forest are unbeaten in the league in their opening 4 games, so they're in absolutely flying form. Chris Wood has 2 goals in the opening 4 games, and I am expecting him to come away with a return with the slight possibility he will be on penalties, and I do think there will be goals in that game. Erling Haaland completes my starting 11, and as I said, I have moved the armband from Haaland to Mo Salah this week. I am expecting Arsenal to keep Haaland quiet. Maybe not fully quiet, maybe he might come away with 1 return, but I'm not expecting a haul from Haaland in that game, but these could be famous last words. That's my current lineup as of now, but I will be waiting for a fitness update on JOAO Pedro. If it sounds like JOAO Pedro is going to be fit for that Nottingham Forest game, I'm going to sub JOAO Pedro into the team, especially with him being on penalties for Brighton, and more than likely sub out Emile Smith-Rowe just because he is getting substituted early in every fixture so far. At the time of this recording, I'm about 60% likely to use my wildcard in Game Week 6, so that could probably push me or tempt me into taking a punt on Jamie Vardy or Dominic Calvert-Lewin this week. But to be honest, I'm happy with playing Wood, I'm happy with playing Smith-Rowe, and it's probably sensible to start trying to save some transfers to avoid any unnecessary hits like I did last week. If you've made it to the end of this video, please give it a like, drop a comment below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let's hit a like goal of 80 likes on this video, so head on down there, drop the video a like, and if you are watching this and you're not subscribed, you know what to do. Head on down there, click subscribe, turn on the notifications. We're trying to hit 10k subs this season, and with your support, we can definitely hit this milestone. I'll see you all on Saturday afternoon for a Game Week 5 deadline stream. Thanks for watching. Best of luck for the week.